So we just got engaged. Very soon I'll be Mrs. Macaulay. I'm still learning how to say his name. Hello TV family. Welcome back to Ted and Vero TV. My name is Veronica. This is my incredible husband.
Hi, I'm Ted.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode. Today's episode is all about our proposal. So this is titled The Proposal Story. So this is how Ted proposed to me. We are going to get right into it.
So anybody that has seen our video, How We Met, knows what came before this and how everything led up to this point. Not very much time passed after we met. As a matter of fact, we started courting on April 23rd in 2019, and it was on June 16th that I proposed. So that's not even quite 2 months. So I had flown to Maryland to visit Veronica only one time before I flew the second time and actually proposed to her. So after I got back, having visited her the first time, it wasn't very long before I was over at the Shane Company shopping for an engagement ring.
Yeah.
And she sent me a number of different photos, styles that she might like her ring to look like and all this. So it was actually kind of tough for me to do that all by myself, but I had someone at the Shane Company who was very helpful. I believe her name was Paige, and she...
Beautiful ring.
Yes. Can they see that?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll insert a picture actually. Yeah, insert a picture. So I came to the conclusion that this was the ring. I was down to about 3 diamonds, and it came to the most expensive one that I had of the 3, of course, but she's more than worth it. So the second time I went to Maryland, I had this whole thing worked out. And the reason I mention our How We Met video is because we mentioned our first date and a couple of other things where we rode the taxi across to the wharf in Alexandria, Virginia. And that was our first date. Our first kiss was on the boat on the way over. And so I thought to myself, well, I'm gonna kind of work this thing out and encourage her to go back with me to the wharf to make another trip, because it was romantic. And I figured once we were out there, I would go onto the pier where they have this bonfire and propose to her there. That was my plan. I had this whole thing worked out in my mind.
Outside. It's very warm.
Yes, it is. But as life is always throwing us curveballs, that's not quite how things worked out.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I can tell you guys.
Yeah.
So we walked around the zoo. We were at the Smithsonian. Walked around the zoo. We were just having a date, and I love animals, and Ted does too. And so the zoo was a perfect time to, it was a perfect weather and a perfect day to do that. So we walked around the zoo, and then I was just so tired, and I get really hot easily. Like, you would think that I'm from Africa, so I shouldn't get hot, like, because I'm used to it. But I get hot so easily, and I was so hot, and I was exhausted, and I think I was even dehydrated at one point. And so
we were tired.
We were very tired, and it had been a long day, and I didn't know he was going to do it. And so while we were walking around the zoo, I was like, okay, I just want to go home. He was like, really?
Because we were supposed to go to the wharf after the zoo. That was the whole plan. It was like, okay, after the zoo, we're going to get back on the train and we're going to go to the wharf. And this is where I'm going to do this thing. So she starts saying, I'm tired. And it was understandable. I was tired too. And it was hot. It was very, very muggy. But my mind is spinning at this point.
Yeah, mind you me, if I knew he was going to propose, I would have gathered all my strength. I would have became a superhero in a minute, and I would have gone to the restaurant because I would have loved that. But the way it happened was also absolutely perfect, and we think God planned the whole thing.
Yes. Well, actually, can I interject this?
Yes.
I want to say maybe you suspected I was going to propose because you had your nails done.
Oh yeah, yes, actually,
you had your nails done
I
on
had
purpose.
I had my nails done because for some reason, you know how women we feel stuff. I'm not sure if every woman is like that, but women feel stuff. I felt it, but I wasn't 100% sure. And the day had gone by and he hadn't done anything. So I'm like, okay, it's not gonna happen. But I had my nails done, and then actually I had texted him like a week or so before, and I was like, you better not propose to me when you come back, because it kept coming in my mind that he was going to propose, and the feeling was so strong. And whenever I have those feelings, it means that 100% something is going to happen. Like, I don't doubt it anymore. And so while we were at the Smithsonian and being exhausted and everything, and me wanting to go back home, like he dropping him off at his hotel and then me going back home, that was my only plan of the day. I was just like, okay, I just want to go home, take a nice cold shower, and just relax and watch some TV. That's all I want to do. But then
there wasn't anything else planned after the zoo. So I had to make the move now, like snap on the double, and I had to figure this thing out. So all of a sudden we're walking around and I'm trying to think, okay, where's a romantic spot? And I'm looking around and looking around. And eventually we came around this corner and there was bamboo all around and
like a gazebo.
There was a gazebo. It kind of came into this enclave and we went into this gazebo to sit down because we were tired, which was actually perfect. And I'm making this suspenseful because I'm holding off the moment of proposal, because I'm actually going to go back in time for just a second, because that reminds me that I had my backpack with me, and that's how I was able to conceal the ring in the box. Otherwise, it would have been apparent that I had it, and the whole thing would have been spoiled. So my thinking about the backpack makes me remember that before we even got into the zoo, I had another really stressful moment because they had security all lined up at the gate to the zoo. And we're trying to walk in and they're going through everybody's coats and everybody's bags. And I'm thinking to myself, they're gonna go through my backpack and they're gonna pull out this ring and they're gonna spoil everything right in front of her. So I took off the backpack. I'm just thinking, okay, Lord, you're in control. Keep this thing hidden. And they looked through it, and I want to say that the woman that was looking through it may have even seen what was in there, but discreetly decided to not make anything of it. And
it's DC for you. Security is everywhere.
Oh yeah, the security was almost like going through the airport security. I was like, this is the zoo?
Yeah, this is DC.
Okay. Well, at least it's free. The zoo is free in DC. And so we got through. So that was stressful test number 1 passed. And I'm like, okay, everything's gonna work out. And then this whole thing with Veronica suddenly deciding that she was too tired to go to the wharf. And I'm like, okay, now this is happening. So fast forward back to where we were. We got to this gazebo, sat down, we had a couple bottles of water, and we were just kind of relaxing. And I thought, well, now or never. And I had my backpack on the left side of me. And so with my left hand, she's sitting here just like we are. I had pulled this ring out of this book bag. So I already had it beside me, so I didn't have to fumble with it. And I just decided to take the plunge, and I got down on my knee right in front of her and proposed to her, asked her to be my wife, and she said, I would be so happy to marry you. And that was that. And little did we know, although actually my wife knew because she was at a vantage to see it. There was a man.
There was a man. Like, that's why I said God planned this whole thing. So he was proposing to me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, where are the cameras? You know, as women, we like stuff like that. So I was like, where are the cameras? Okay, there's no camera, there's nothing, right? But God, man, God looks out for us. There was a photographer from the National Geographic, okay?
The
National Geographic. So he takes pictures for the National Geographic. He was at the zoo with his family, and at that very moment, he happened to be passing by. And he took a picture. I saw him and he said, he did this to me. I was like, yeah, do it. And so then, okay, anyway, take control.
No, and that's exactly how it went. And I didn't even realize he was there because my back was to him. My back was to the opening of the gazebo. But she had seen all this, and after we shared hugs and kisses and all this stuff. She said, that man just took pictures. I'm like, where? Because I wanted to go get him so that he could send them to us.
Yeah.
And she said, he went down there. So I ran away from my fiance at that point and tried to track this guy down through these bamboo trails. And I found this guy with a camera on a strap around his neck. And I asked him, I said, did you just take a picture of me proposing? And he said, yeah, I actually work for the National Geographic.
Crazy.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, I exchanged information with him and he ended up sending us these pictures. He did them on the fly, so they weren't necessarily his Pulitzer Prize winning photos, but the fact that he was there and caught the candid moment was actually pretty amazing.
Yeah,
and
he
then,
didn't even have time to set his camera, you know, today, but he did what he could, and I was so grateful for that. That was truly a blessing unto us, because, and that at that very moment when Ted came back and said, the man who was from the National Geographic, I knew this marriage was meant for greatness. I mean, I knew already, but the fact that someone in that position will be the one to photograph our engagement, like not everyone gets to say that our proposal picture was taken by
a photographer
from the National Geographic. I mean, do you hear this story every day?
Well, and not only that, but it was absolutely by chance or by God's sovereign will that it was just happened to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to say that I contacted National Geographic and had the whole thing set up,
but
I can't take credit for that.
So the whole experience was beautiful. And after Ted proposed and the whole photographer thing happened, I had gotten a call, a very important call. It was an emergency call actually from one of my cousins, and she was going through some very tough stuff, and I was trying to be on the phone to try and support her. And at that time I've been proposed to, and I'm like, okay, do I tell her? I'm trying to like sympathize with her, but at the same time I have so much joy.
She's ready to celebrate.
I'm ready to celebrate. I have so much joy inside of me that I wasn't sure if I should tell her there, or I should, because you can't tell someone your good news when they are going through something terrible.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. I concealed it. And as a matter of fact, I concealed it for so long because there was so much things that had happened in my life around that time, and so I needed this to be celebrated. I needed the right people to understand that this is what was, you know. And at that very moment, that season, I didn't quite have that, and so I concealed it for a while and prayed, and I said, God, just work on the hearts of those around me. Let everyone be receptive of this. Let everyone celebrate this, because this is so beautiful. And I know myself that if anyone around me began to question and began to put like what is this?
Doubts in
my mind. Yeah. And you know, if I wasn't careful at that time, I would have been like, really? Second guessing. So I needed the right people. And so the very first person I actually informed was my mother. And after I informed my mother,
great choice,
my pastor knew about it. And then my friend Catherine knew about it because Catherine was involved in the whole process. And so I told her, then we prayed, and then every single one of my loved ones, my friends, began to know about it, and the whole thing came together. But
so while she was on the phone, right after I had proposed, I was making my rounds on the phone, and I called my family and told them that I had proposed and that she had said yes. And after I got back up, because I was down the trail a ways, giving her space to talk, she got off the phone and she was just overjoyed and thrilled and just beside herself. And the first thing she says to me is, why am I so excited? Why am I so excited? And I said, well, you should be. And she goes, oh, I need a smoothie.
Baby, why am I so excited? I can't.
Well, you should be.
I need a smoothie. Yeah, every time I'm excited, I need a smoothie, ice cream, or milkshake. Those three things.
So we went and we found her a smoothie at the zoo, and that was that. And shortly thereafter, we were married.
Sometimes I still can't believe how good God has been to me. Like, I'm getting emotional because, like, oh man, tears, you can't come down now. Yeah, the whole thing like was truly a blessing to me, because if you know my story and everything I've experienced with my past and the pain that I've endured, you know, you will understand this joy that turns into tears, you know. Yeah, that is a story for another day, because I don't want to cry today. It's a joyful day. It's a happy day.
Yeah.
I don't want to cry. It's raining outside and I love the rain. And so let me not cry. But the whole thing was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's what I can say. And God was involved in every aspect of it.
Yep.
Ted has been my rock. He's been my support. He's been like a second father to me, you know. He takes care of me the way no one has ever taken care of me. He watches out for me, you know, and he knows when I'm feeling down. For someone to know the little things about you is priceless, you know. For someone to take time to actually study you, to know when you need something and to just be there for you is just priceless. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And I just bless God every day for where he's taking us and for the children he has for us that are coming, you know, in the future, and our home, the family that we are building. This is our second year of marriage. I don't even count the first year because we dealt with so much ups and downs. Moving all the way from across the country alone was a whole marriage.
Well, you got to count it, but it was rocky.
Yeah, it was
rocky, circumstantially rocky. Not because we weren't getting along per se. It was just the whole world was in an upheaval in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And tons happened, big change.
Yeah.
Moves and everything else in between. So
moving all your stuff, everything you ever owned across the country is very difficult, you know. I moved here and then COVID happened. You know, we got sick here and there from the trip being so long, the exhaustion of the wedding and the whole process of it all. But in all, we are standing, we are blessed, we are happy, we support each other, and we just, there's no word to describe what we feel.
I couldn't be happier.
Thank you, honey. Lipstick.
Yeah, well, that's bound to happen.
Oh man, lipstick and makeup.
When you're married to an African woman.
Oh, Teddy. No, you're married to a Ghanaian woman. Anyway, we thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are blessed to have you all. Thank you so much for supporting us. Please don't forget to subscribe and watch these videos and keep supporting us, keep pushing our content out there. And may God continue to bless all of you. Again, like, subscribe, and share. Bye-bye.
See you next time.
See you next time. Oh, baby, I love you.
I love you too.
And I love my ring. You guys, check out the details of this ring. We can't share anything right now, but very soon. I love you.
Love you. Say bye.
Bye, baby.